Most people think stress is just feeling overwhelmed, like it's only in your head. Your thoughts, your worries, your vibes. It's a cute theory, but it's completely wrong. Stress doesn't stay politely contained in your thoughts. It moves through your whole system. Your nerves, your hormones, your organs, whether you're consciously aware of it or not. Stress is not a mood. It is a biological event. Your body hears something is wrong and immediately starts rearranging resources. It doesn't pause to ask why something feels wrong. It just assumes action is required and shifts into response mode. But the problem isn't stress itself. Stress is actually useful. It's how you slam on the brakes before a car hits you, or you suddenly become strong enough to lift a car in a crisis. In short bursts, stress sharpens focus, boosts strength, and keeps you alive. It's meant to show up, do its job, and then go back to normal. The problem is chronic stress. That's when the emergency response never shuts off. No explosion, no obvious danger, it's just always on. It's the slow drip version, low-level background adrenaline that never fully resolves. Your body stays on standby waiting for a threat that never clearly arrives. Your nervous system has two main modes, rest and digest, or fight, flight, or freeze. Chronic stress traps you in the second one like it's the default setting. There's no clean handoff back to rest. You're just constantly scanning for tigers even during moments that are supposed to be calm. Your body does not understand emails, deadlines, or I'll deal with it later. It understands threat, and it treats modern stress like you're being quietly hunted 24/7. Uncertainty, pressure, and constant demands all register the same way biologically. The context doesn't matter, only the signal. So it floods you with stress hormones, cortisol and adrenaline, which are meant for short bursts. These are not long-term lifestyle hormones. They're emergency flares. They're designed to spike, to help you act, and then burn out quickly. When they don't, problems start stacking up. When those hormones stay elevated, your body starts making trade-offs. And comfort, digestion, sleep, and immunity are the first things cut, because survival outranks long-term maintenance. Your body assumes you'll deal with the rest later, if later ever comes. This is why people under chronic stress feel wired but exhausted, tired but unable to rest, alert but foggy, like a phone stuck at 12% battery in power save mode. Everything technically still works, it just works slower, dimmer, and with less margin for error. Your body isn't failing you, it's doing exactly what it's designed to do, survive. It just thinks survival is still the priority, and as long as it thinks that, it won't prioritize comfort or ease. Those are luxuries in an emergency. And because this happens slowly, people don't notice the shift. They just start saying things like, I guess this is how I am. The change feels gradual, almost logical. It sneaks in quietly and then pretends that's how it's supposed to be. It's not. It's how your body behaves when it never gets the signal that it's safe again. Once that signal returns consistently, things can change. Not overnight, but noticeably. One of the first things your body does under chronic stress is decide that digestion is optional, which seems stupid considering how much of your life revolves around eating. But from your body's perspective, food processing is a luxury task. If resources are limited, it gets bumped to the bottom of the list. When you're stressed out, blood flow gets redirected away from your gut towards your muscles and brain, because apparently you might need to fight a bear instead of digest a sandwich. This shift is automatic and unconscious. Your body doesn't wait for logic, it prepares for action. That's why chronic stress is linked to bloating, nausea, constipation, diarrhea, or reflux. Sometimes all of the above, just to keep things interesting. The digestive system thrives on rhythm and calm. Stress disrupts both, which is why symptoms can feel unpredictable. Your gut isn't just for food. It's deeply wired into your nervous system, so when your nervous system is tense, your digestion gets the memo. There's constant two-way communication between your gut and your brain. When one is stressed, the other doesn't stay neutral. Now, let's talk about your immune system, because stress absolutely messes with that too. In the short term, stress boosts immunity, but in the long term, it does the opposite. Your body can't stay in overdrive forever without consequences. Eventually, the system that's always on starts burning out. Chronic cortisol tells your immune system to stand down, which means you might get sick more often or stay sick longer, or feel like you're always fighting something. Your healing slows and your recovery drags, and your body struggles to fully reset between stressors. This is also where inflammation comes in. Stress doesn't always cause obvious illness. Sometimes it just creates low-grade, constant inflammation. It's the background hum of discomfort rather than a clear alarm. It's easy to ignore but hard to escape. And inflammation is sneaky. It shows up as body aches, headaches, fatigue, skin issues, flare-ups of old problems. Stuff that's easy to dismiss and hard to connect back to stress because none of it screams emergency. It just quietly wears you down. The thing is, you can eat well and sleep okay and still feel off because stress is quietly pulling the strings behind the scenes. Lifestyle changes can help, but they can't override a nervous system stuck in threat mode. The root issue stays active. This is why telling stressed people to just relax is useless. You can't relax a nervous system that thinks it's under threat. Relaxation isn't a decision. It's a physiological state that has to feel possible first. Until your body feels safe again, digestion, immunity, and healing stay in survival mode. They're not broken, they're just deprioritized. But once safety returns, those systems don't need to be forced. They come back online naturally. I think that one of the biggest generalizations about stress is that it makes you tired in a normal way, like long day, time for bed, tired. That's not what chronic stress does, though. This isn't fatigue that resolves with a good night's sleep. It's a different category entirely. Chronic stress makes you exhausted and alert at the same time. Your body is drained. You don't have the energy to move, but your brain won't shut up. Your nervous system refuses to power down. It's like the engine is overheating while the alarm system stays armed, with no off switch in sight. That's probably why so many stressed people struggle with sleep. Not just falling asleep, but staying asleep. Your body doesn't trust the night. Even when you do drift off, the system stays half awake and ready for anything. Cortisol is supposed to be high in the morning and low at night, but chronic stress flips that script. Now your brain is wide awake at 2 a.m., replaying conversations you had in 2014. Your body thinks nighttime is an unsafe window, so it keeps the lights on. Even when you do sleep, it doesn't feel restorative. You wake up feeling like you ran a marathon in your dreams, because your nervous system never fully stood down. Sleep might have happened, but rest didn't. This is where brain fog creeps in. You have trouble concentrating, you forget words mid-sentence, and you feel like your thoughts are moving through syrup. Nothing feels sharp, and everything takes an extra effort. It's not that you suddenly became bad at thinking. Your brain is conserving energy. Complex thinking is expensive, and when your resources are limited, efficiency beats elegance. Your brain chooses survival tasks first. When you're chronically stressed, your brain prioritizes vigilance over creativity, memory, and focus. You're optimized for survival, not spreadsheets, which is great for emergencies, but it's terrible for modern life. That's why decision-making gets harder. It's why small tasks feel overwhelming, and why everything takes more effort than it logically should. Each decision costs more than it used to, and so your brain resists making them. Until your body relearns that it's okay to power down, your sleep stays light, your energy stays low, and your brain keeps running on backup mode. Not because you're broken, but because your system is still on guard. The thing is, chronic stress doesn't just exhaust your body, it changes how you react to stuff. The shift is subtle, at first. Then one day you realize your emotional range feels different. Some of us become more anxious and irritable and easily overwhelmed. Others feel flat, numb, or emotionally muted. It's the same cause, just different reactions. The nervous system picks the response it thinks will cost the least energy. Sometimes when your nervous system is overwhelmed, it turns the volume down on everything, good and bad. Not because emotions are dangerous, but because processing them takes energy. Feeling deeply requires capacity, and stress quietly drains that capacity. And of course, irritability shows up for the same reason. Our tolerance for BS drops when the system is already maxed out. Tiny things feel disproportionately annoying. There's no buffer left, so you're left with a short fuse. Everything just sucks. Your emotional regulation depends heavily on your nervous system being stable. When it's not, emotions come out sideways. They leak instead of flow. Sometimes they're sudden, confusing, and hard to control. This is also where anxiety can ramp up. Your body is already in threat mode, so your brain goes hunting for explanations. If the alarm is ringing, the mind wants a reason. This is why stress anxiety often feels vague, not tied to one specific fear. It's just a constant sense that something is wrong. Unease without a clear target is especially exhausting. Over time, people stop recognizing themselves. They miss who they were before everything felt heavy or dull or sharp all at once. That grief is real, even if nothing obvious happened. Ironically, worrying about it adds more stress to the system. The loop feeds itself. Concern becomes another pressure point. But again, though, this isn't a personality flaw. It's what happens when your nervous system hasn't felt safe enough to fully relax in a long time. When safety returns, emotional range tends to return with it. But chronic stress isn't a motivation problem. You can't fix it by trying harder. That's often the very thing that keeps the cycle going. I think that telling someone under chronic stress to just relax is like telling a smoke alarm to calm down while the kitchen's on fire. The alarm isn't the issue. It's responding appropriately to what it detects. Your body doesn't need more effort, it needs signals of safety. Repeated, boring, unexciting ones. Safety isn't dramatic, it's predictable and uneventful. This is why small, predictable routines help more than big, dramatic self-care gestures. Consistency tells your nervous system what's coming next, and knowing what's next lowers the baseline level of threat. Structure reduces decision-making. Fewer choices means less mental load, and less mental load means your systems can finally exhale. And relief often comes from subtraction, not addition. Things like regular meals, going to bed at roughly the same time, and gentle movement matter more than motivation speeches. These aren't productivity hacks, they're nervous system maintenance. Breathing exercises work not because they're magical, but because slow breathing directly tells your nervous system, we're okay right now. That message lands faster than logic ever could. So does reducing constant mental input, watching less news, less doom scrolling, less background stress pretending to be information. Your brain needs quiet to recalibrate, not more data. Recovery from chronic stress is gradual. Your body needs proof over time, not reassurance once. One calm day doesn't undo months of tension, but repeated calm moments add up. You don't snap back into calm, you inch your way there. Small changes consistently applied rebuild trust in the system. And as your nervous system settles, the symptoms fade. Your sleep improves, your energy returns, and your emotions feel less extreme or less flat. The shift is subtle at first, but then it becomes unmistakable. Chronic stress doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It means your body adapted to too much for too long, and it's waiting for permission to stand down. And that permission comes through safety, not pressure. Thanks for listening. If any of this resonated, feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe and stick around if you like this type of content. Bye for now.